Seabreeze is a very great historical amusement park located in Irondequoit, New York, pretty close to Rochester, making it easily accessible for just about all of Western New York. This park has 4 great roller coasters, and many classic and even some modern flat rides. It opened back in 1879, making it the 5th oldest park in all of North America. I've been here many times between 2014 and 2025, so I will be giving my opinion on this very classic park. There are 2 main parking lots in this park, and unless it's a busy day, you'll probably park in the one near Jackrabbit, the park's oldest roller coaster. But we'll talk about that one a little bit later. Let's talk about the layout. Seabreeze is not a very big park, spanning only 35 acres, and that includes the fully attached water park and 2 different parking lots. But they've managed to pack in 4 roller coasters and a lot of rides into that small area. Seabreeze also is a very nice location. It sits on a hill that overlooks Lake Ontario, which, if you didn't know, and if you're not from the area, Lake Ontario is a very big lake to the point where you can't even see the other side. The first roller coaster we'll be talking about is easily the headliner in this park, Jackrabbit, the 1920 wooden roller coaster, which was the first coaster with upstop wheels because it opened just about a month before the far inferior Kennywood Jackrabbit. And especially if you get room, which I almost got a foot of room on my recent rides, not even exaggerating. This coaster has some really good airtime moments in the front row. My 2 favorites are the rides in the first turnaround, and then the rides in the final brake run, which also happens to be enclosed in a tunnel. And even though Jackrabbit is 105 years old now, it still runs very smooth, with really only a few bumps in wheel seats, so you can ride this coaster comfortably in any row. And I'm very happy to say that I see this coaster operating for many, many years in the future. The park has shown that they will do whatever it takes to make them be able to keep Jackrabbit alive. The next coaster is the park's smallest coaster, Bear Tracks, an E&F miler that you actually do need a kid to ride, so sadly you can't get the credit unless you get really lucky and really get the ride-offs to let you on, but that will usually not work. If you do somehow get on this coaster, it's janky but in a good way and almost has some airtime. Then all the way on the other side of the park past all the Midway games, you have the 2 other roller coasters in the park. Easily the weirdest and most unique coaster in the park is Sleds. It opened as Junior Coaster in 1954, but after how well Matterhorn bobsleds at Disneyland did, the park decided to overhaul the coaster by putting steel track on it and 4 new bobsled themed trains, those being Jamaica, USA, Switzerland, and Italy. And they renamed it to Bobsleds, making this the first ever hybrid conversion. This all resulted in a very weird coaster, and the ride experience is actually pretty good too. There are 2 main drops, and it's just a good time and a great coaster that the whole family can ride. One thing is that I would recommend holding your lap bar up, because it could lower a lot during the ride to the point where you are very stabled, which has happened to me before. And it's also running very smooth after the 2019 retrack. Definitely the most intense coaster in the park is Whirlwind, a Maurer SC2000 spinning coaster. This version specifically not only has less banking than other versions, causing it to spin more, but it also doesn't trim as much. And this first drop going backwards is honestly something that everyone should experience at least once. And if you're facing the right direction, you can get some crazy lateral airtime on some of these turns and drops. And it's very smooth outside of the valley after the horseshoe turn, which for some reason jackhammered a little bit on my last ride. I don't know what that was about. One thing that's nice about riding in the forwards facing seats is that this is by far the best way to see Lake Ontario from the park. Honestly, this is one of the best views of any roller coaster. But these are far from the only things you should do at Seabreeze. The park has many other rides and attractions, and like I said earlier, they have a fully attached water park included with admission, with some really cool slides and other water rides that are great for a hot day. For flat rides, this park has many classic flat rides that you would find at other parks, such as a swinging ship, wave swinger, and a Zamperla disco. Not that that's classic, but it's still a cool flat ride. And new for last year in 2024, they got Wind Stars, which is a Zamperla, which replaced the old flying scooters. And as much as I like those, I do feel like this is an overall better fit for the park. One of my favorite non-coaster rides in the park is the train that goes around the lagoon. You get great views from one of the best spots in the park, and you kind of just go all around Log Flume, which is one of the best looking rides in the park. It's a weird log flume because unlike the other ones it has wooden supports, so it's just great taking videos and pictures in this section, and it's a nice, relaxing ride in between other rides. But my favorite non-coaster ride in the park is easily Log Flume, which might just look like your average log flume, but if you think that, then you would be completely wrong. It starts out with some nice turns and a water section in what is the most beautiful section of the park in my opinion. Then you have a small, almost rapid section and a tunnel, which is pretty cool. It doesn't get you quite as wet as it looks, but it's a nice switch up from what was before. And this is all great, but a little advice for this ride is make sure you sit in the back, and that's because of this crazy drop. If you look up what the steepest log flume is, it'll either say Catapult Falls or Chiapas, which both have an angle of descent of 53 degrees. But Log Flume at Seabreeze is actually steepest because it has an angle of 55 degrees. And let me tell you, when you plummet down this drop, it says hold on for a reason. You just get lifted right out of your seat. And it's not like some coasters where you're like, oh, your legs are still on the floor. No. Your legs, everything lifts right off the seat. And did I mention it has no restraints at all? This is definitely my favorite moment in the park, so I will happily wait however long the line is to experience this elite log flume drop. Something I love about Seabreeze is that it just looks nice. There might not be any theming, but you can just tell that the top priority here is having a great park atmosphere and great landscaping. And nothing is overgrown either. It's just the perfect amount of everything. There are some parks out there that you can really tell they just don't care, but Seabreeze is not one of them at all. The operations at Seabreeze can be kind of hit or miss, but they are usually pretty good. For example, in the morning I timed a dispatch on Jackrabbit that was about 2.5 minutes long, which is not great, but in the afternoon, I timed a dispatch that was only 40 seconds, which I was very surprised, and that is very good. Admission to Seabreeze costs anywhere from $39 to $44, depending on whether you go on a weekday or a weekend. This might seem high compared to other parks that are similar in size, but Seabreeze has had issues in the past, and that's also why they have a very strict chaperone policy, so just take note of that before you go there. And I also wouldn't be surprised if there's some people that decide to go to Six Flags Darien Lake instead for the cheaper price and more thrill rides. And one thing that I don't think anyone should do is go here and just get the credits and leave. This park has so much to offer, and I don't think anyone should spend less than a half day here unless you really don't have the time. But I always find myself spending at least 2/3 of a day at Seabreeze, because they do not have a single bad ride. And you can be entertained by just walking around because how nice this park is. I can't imagine a year not going to Seabreeze. I love this park so much, and part of it might be because I've been coming to this place for my entire life, but it's just a really nice park, where you can just sit back and relax, and take your time, which is something you really can't do at some of these larger scale parks with really long wait times. So if you enjoyed this video, then please go to Seabreeze, like, comment, and subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next video.